Welcome to Her Money Revolution. I'm your host, Angela Brooks, your guide on this journey to becoming a wealthy woman. As a certified financial planner, owner, and advisor at Family Capital Management, I'm on a mission to simplify the conversation around investing and to help women generate more wealth by making their money work for them. Join me as we navigate powerful financial planning strategies to help you achieve your personal and professional goals. This podcast is your go-to destination for no fluff, easy to implement financial and investing advice. If you are ready to achieve audacious financial goals, dream beyond boundaries, and generate massive wealth for you and your family, this podcast is for you. Grab a notebook. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Her Money Revolution, the podcast where we empower women to grow their wealth by making their money work for them. I'm your host, Angela Brooks, and in today's episode, I will be going over the changes for 2025 that you'll need to be aware of. Early December is a great time to start really looking forward for 2025 and make sure that we understand all the contribution limits. Because every year, the IRS adjusts contribution limits and rules for tax-advantaged accounts like a 401k or IRAs, HSAs is another example. These adjustments make a big difference in how much you're able to save and invest for your future. So I'm going to dive in and we're going to get really technical. So grab a pencil, grab a notebook, and write some of these down, okay? Also, you can actually download, I have on my website, I will have all the contribution limits and a nice PDF file for you, so you can also download it there as well. I'll make sure to put the link in the show notes. First off, a 401k contribution limits. Let's kick things off with 401ks or 403bs for 2025. And for those under 50, the contribution limit is increasing to $23,500. This means that you can save an extra $500 for your retirement. The catch-up contribution limit will stay the same. So if you're 50 or older, that's going to be $7,500 in addition to the $23,500. So your total contribution limit will be $31,000. Bear in mind, this is just as the employee. The employer does a match on top of that amount. Also, something new this year, if you are aged between 60 and 63 by the end of the year 2025, your catch-up contribution is actually going to be $11,250. So that's awesome, something that's new this year. So you definitely should take some note of that. And why is this important? By maximizing your contribution limits, you can take full advantage of the compound interest that I love, allowing your money to grow tax deferred. If your employer offers matching contributions, make sure that you're at least contributing enough to get the full match. If you don't, it's essentially leaving money on the table. Next is your IRA contribution limits. An IRA contribution limits and catch-up contributions will remain the same as they were in 2024. So that means that you can contribute $7,000 into your IRA or your Roth IRA. If you're 50 and older, you can contribute $8,000. These limits apply whether you have a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, but don't forget the contribution rules and tax benefits are different between those two accounts, traditional versus Roth. SEP IRA contribution limits will increase to $70,000 per year for 2025, up from $69,000 that was in 2024. The simple IRA or a simple 401k contribution limits will increase from $16,000 for 2024 to $16,500 in 2025, an increase by $500. An HSA, which is a health savings account. For those of you with a high deductible health plan, the contribution limit for an HSA are also going up. In 2025, the individual limit is $4,300. And for a family, it is $8,550. The $1,000 catch-up contribution for those of age 55 and older remains the same. Again, why does this matter? Maxing out these accounts is one of the smartest moves you can make because of the tax advantages. So whether you're reducing your taxable income now in this year, or growing your investments tax-free if it's in a Roth or tax-deferred, contributing these accounts puts your money to work in the most efficient way possible. The HSA growth, by the way, is tax-free as long as you use them for medical expenses. Like I said earlier, I'm going to include a link in the show notes that will take you directly to my resource page on hermoneyrevolution.com, where you can download a PDF with all of the 2025 limits and access additional valuable information. It's really a great resource to help you stay informed and to maximize your financial strategy. I'd also say if your wealth advisor is not working with you on these contribution limits or reaching out to say, hey, they've gone up, do you want to change your contributions? That should be something that they should be communicating with you. So make sure that you ask them about this. So now that we have covered the limits, let's talk about some strategic things to consider going into 2025. Number one, revisit your financial goals. The end of the year is the perfect time to check in with your goals. Review how you did in 2024 and then start to focus on 2025. Do you need to increase your contribution limits that we just discussed? Or do you have short-term goals like buying a house or saving for education? You want to revisit these goals to help you prioritize where your money should go. If you have not already, download my value spending plan or my monthly cash flow plan and start tracking your progress and your goals. Next, we'll talk about Roth conversions. In episode 11, I talked about asset location and the importance of being diversified with your investment vehicles in order to be diversified by tax treatments. If you need more information on that, go back to episode 11. What I mean by this, though, is if most of your assets are in a tax-deferred account, which is normal, right? That's like a traditional 401k or traditional IRA. By converting some of those assets, or all, depending on the limit, or depending on how much you have in them, in your traditional IRA, for example, to a Roth IRA, you'll have assets that won't be taxed later on in life when you withdraw them, potentially allowing you to better manage your tax bracket later in life and enable more personalized tax planning during retirement. So let me say that again. If you convert some of your traditional IRA this year, that what you convert over, you will pay ordinary income taxes today in the year that you do the conversion, but it grows tax-free in the Roth IRA. So if you expect your tax bracket to be higher in retirement, paying taxes on your contributions now by doing a Roth conversion will save you from a larger tax bill later on. I often tell my clients that there's a sweet spot in doing this strategy. It's usually in the few years after you retire, but before you start drawing Social Security or before you start taking your pension, if you have one, or before you're required to take the required minimum distributions out of your traditional IRA. Because during this time, you would most likely be in the lowest tax bracket you'll ever be in, making it an ideal moment to take advantage of the key financial opportunities. So again, there's a sweet spot. I work with my clients in making sure that it doesn't increase or create a big tax hit in the year that they're doing the conversion, but work with your advisor. If you want to still, and actually it's December, you still may have time to do this in 2024. But I'd also talk to your advisor early in the year so then you can implement this strategy with them. Number 3, tax loss harvesting. There is still some time to do some tax loss harvesting for 2024. As a reminder, it allows investors to offset any capital gains with losses from underperforming investments, reducing taxable income. So the strategy can lower your current year taxes and carry forward unused losses to future tax years, helping you to maximize after tax returns and manage your tax burden more efficiently. 2024, however, has been a really strong growth year. Now, I'm recording this. It's actually Halloween today as I'm recording this. And so the markets have been really good. You may have a hard time finding a loss. However, you may have a lot of gains still if you needed cash, you took something out of your taxable account. So you may have a challenge depending on what happens in the market. And we've got an election year. I don't know what happened because it hasn't happened yet when I'm recording this, but there may not be much you can do still this year. But if you start now in January for 2025, early planning allows you to make well-timed moves, okay? So you can take full advantage of any shifts in the markets throughout the full year. It's best to work, again, with a financial advisor to implement the strategy and to be sure to ask your tax provider as well about this tax harvesting strategy if that's an option for you. Number 5, personal strategic planning. We often take the time to plan strategically for our businesses or a family vacation, or even for our parents if you're taking care of elderly parents, but we rarely slow down enough to do this for ourselves. This might sound like setting New Year's resolutions or goals, and I love all of that. So don't get me wrong, I set New Year's resolutions and I have lots of goals. But if you don't take it to the next step, right? If we don't step further into actually having a strategic planning session, we risk ending up somewhere by accident. Okay, so let me say this again. You can have all the goals that you want. You can set New Year's resolutions, but if you don't have a strategic plan, a step-by-step action plan, it's not going to happen. You're going to end up somewhere by accident. And I don't want that to happen. I want to design my life. I want to have a plan. I don't want to accidentally end up somewhere. So yes, life will most likely take unexpected turns and unplanned things. I often say, like, expect the unexpected. I understand that. And I understand also, this is some feedback I've gotten or some pushback. God is ultimately in control of our plans. Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to play God. I understand. But God also says, right, I think it's Proverbs, 16:9, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. So I'm going to go ahead and plan my course and trust that God is going to establish my steps. And I understand, hey, I might deviate, and that's okay. But there's a balance between your responsibility to plan and God's ultimate authority in guiding our lives. Okay. So I'm not confused about that. It's concerning to me, truly, how many people don't take the time to do personal strategic planning without clarity on what you want and how all of those pieces fit together like a puzzle or a roadmap. You're essentially experimenting with life in real time. Okay, so that's risky. Some of these episodes I've talked about being risk adverse or understanding your risk tolerance. If you don't have a strategic plan, I'd consider you high risk. You don't want to look back and wonder, how did I get here? How is this my life? Wrong or indifferent. So remember, not making a decision is a decision. Do yourself a favor, plan your year intentionally. Look at 2025 quarter by quarter and design the life that you want. You want a vacation. You want to put it on the calendar now and start saving for it. Dive deep and get clear on what you want to achieve in 2025. Don't just throw spaghetti at the wall and hope something sticks. Truly, if you stay deliberate, it will happen. Okay. I also have the cash flow planning, again, on my resources page, that this kind of helps you look at some of these big goals in more detail as far as like putting a dollar amount around them. But I'll talk more about this in upcoming episodes, how I set goals and then track them. But number 5, stay informed. Finally, it is one of the most important tips I can give you is staying informed. It's key. Regulation changes, limits change, market conditions are constantly changing. Make sure you are up to date by working with a financial professional or tuning into this podcast or others. About Her Money Revolution is a great one to keep tuning into. Stay informed. Read a good book. If you have questions on what I enjoy reading or other resources that I have, please feel free to DM me. But the key is, and be careful between listening to the news, or there's data and then there's narrative. And it's my job as a wealth advisor and podcast host to be the critical thinker and to help you kind of take the noise away. But so be careful with the resources that you're listening to, but really find a resource that you trust and stay informed. Okay. I hope today's episode has given you a solid foundation to prepare for 2025. Keeping up with contribution limits will have a significant impact on your financial success. If you found this helpful, be sure to share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe so you will never miss an episode of Her Money Revolution. As always, if you have any questions or need personalized advice, I would love to chat with you. Feel free to reach out. Here's to mastering 2025 and making it the best financial year yet. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep building your wealth and revolutionizing your money mindset. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you are feeling more empowered in your financial journey. Remember, follow and subscribe to Her Money Revolution on your favorite podcast platform, and share your feedback by leaving a review. I'd love to hear your biggest takeaway from today's episode. Until next time, stay inspired.